This is day 4 of the Game Off 2025 Jam. Let me finish getting my stream set up here, and then we will get into the project. Okay. So at this point, I believe we have the ability to create towers anywhere along a preset area. So let me throw a tower up, yes. We have our overlays for our range. We have coins that we get for killing enemies, and we can't build more towers until we have enough coins. There we go. So today I'm going to be focused on upgrading the towers. Now that I've been thinking about a little bit, and I don't want the typical pick the tower and just do a blanket upgrade. What I would like to do is add separate buildings around the tower that add upgrades to it. And that way this becomes, especially on more cramped levels, it becomes an issue of using your space well. If I remember right, I also need to deal with the fact that you can currently build over other things. I can put 2 towers right on top of each other, which obviously we should not be able to do. So that will be in the list of things to do. That might not be today, but that will be very soon. And I'm adding that to my notes right now. All right, so we are going to start with an upgrade system. So if I want separate buildings, that means I need to actually make a couple of buildings here. So I'm going to pop open Blender, and we're going to start making sub-buildings for this. Now, it does take Blender a minute to open for me, and the newer version does run like absolute crap, so we're going to see how this works out. I have my Blender file open. This is the file that has the original tower in it. Create a new collection for the first upgrade building. I'll call this the range upgrade. Now, I want this to be much smaller than the tower that it's going around. I'm going to throw in a cube and get it sized to about what I want for the upgrade tower. That did not do what I wanted it to. Yeah, I'll just pull this up. Well, that looks like a good size for an upgrade building. Put this off. I'm going to give it a little bit of design. I'm not doing much with it. I'm going to leave it as a square building. I'm going to bevel it in a little. Yeah, I'll do that once I add more features here. Yeah, I'll bevel it in. And I'll put features on top. That'll be more visible to the player. And what can we use to represent range here? Throw in another cube. Range, I can, I'm going to put a set of rings similar to the one that is being used to focus my laser here. Ooh, I somehow scaled that. I don't know how, but that's all right. I'm going to ignore it for the moment. Let me bevel these corners. Round that thing out. I want it too rounded. I'm going to put the rings on top. See if it will let me. Yeah, it will. All right. So I'm going to add a cube. How did I do my rings? Turn this back to normal. Bring this down real tight. Set both of these. Get rid of those plates. I'm going to separate this out for the moment. Manipulate just this. I'm going to put the subdivide on here. Go boost that up a little. There, now I have a decent looking ring. I can scale these in just a little bit. Make it a little wider. That looks pretty good. Put that right there. Make a slightly bigger one. But this will be my range upgrade. Let me adjust this angle just a little. Get those corners shaded. It still does not like that. Ah, there we go. Much better. I can apply my subdivide. I'm done working on that and combine these. So this is going to be my range upgrade building. My export. Turn all that off. I want to make sure I'm applying whatever modifiers I have and export that. All right, I'm going to copy that over into the project file. So this is my range upgrade. I'm copying things over off screen. Okay, now I can switch back to Godot. Should have I have an upgrades file. Now I should add a material to this because this looks pretty ugly. It's just a solid white. Oh, back to Blender. Up in here. So yes, I have my laser tower material. So I'm going to create a new one for range grade. Get into my UVs. Can't see anything. There we go. I'm going to divide this thing up. I'll throw a seam in here. Let me see how this unwraps. That's not horrible for what I'm doing. I'm not going to incredibly high detail on these, at least just yet. Throw a seam in here. Do the same thing for that one. That seam not take. Yeah, that is synced. Okay. Should have gotten something a little better than that. Oh, I had too much linked in. Unwrap. I don't see the bottom. And look at it. There's the top. Oh, there's my bottom. Okay. All right, that works. Each of these rings, I'm going to throw a seam in, and I'm going to kind of line these up. Okay. This opaque. Hide those. And those. Now I can look at this from the bottom and get the exact bottom scene, or the exact bottom scene for this. One seams here. Try and unwrap. There we go. I got 3 concentric rings. And I can scale these to about the right area. Again, I'm not going to be doing a huge amount of detail, so I'm not that worried about it. Bring these back up. My base is going to be a decent size. The bottom is a nothing spot, so I can scale that down for right in the center of that. Top part of the base doesn't need to be quite as big. This is also a nothing spot. I've got plenty of room to work with here. What do I want to adjust for that? I'll scale this one up a bit and throw it over here. Add a little more detail to the rings. I think that's good for right now. I don't need all that much. This is just an initial mock-up of an object. Go to my textures and create a new image for this. This is Range upgrade. Make this one a 512. So my main tower was a 1024. Definitely don't need it to be as big. I always save these files separately, just to make sure that nothing gets too stupid here. Save. Now I can get in here and apply this. What this is, an image texture on this image. And I can start filling this in. Right now, I'm just going to use some base colors. I want something that's going to stand out a little bit, so for the range, I'm going to use more of a bluish tint on the base here. Give it a blue-purple area. Pop into edit mode and grab that's all I need because the base itself is embedded. I can throw my mask on and make that. It's a little dark. I'm going to lighten that up. I wanted it to be more on the blue side. Let me adjust this. Wrong one. Yeah, that. I want to bring it back over towards the blue. There we go. That's more what I was looking for. Piece on top of it, I can make that. I'll bring that one more back towards the purple again. Make it slightly darker. And then the rings I made a very silverish before, so I will continue on with that. Eventually I'll pick out some better colors for this thing. But that will be more when I'm polishing up and I can already see everything in the scene. Now for this, I do actually need to pick out, oh, there is no bottom panel. That was a single split. Okay. That's convenient. I can fill those in. I don't really care for those. I'm going to go more on the greenish side of that. Okay. So nice quick upgrade building. Save that and re-export it. Back to Godot. Now I have to copy that back over. One moment. Okay, that is back in. It should re-import now. Yep, there it is. Now I got my building. So right now, excuse me. Right now, in my button panel, I have build, and I just have the tower listings. So I'm going to start expanding this. The gun tower is just the original temp that I built. That one's going to be disappearing eventually. But there's my laser tower. So I want to be able to put up upgrade buildings around this that will extend its range. So I want to go back to my menu system and start adjusting it to have two panels, one for the tower and one for the upgrades. So tower select scene is where I control all of that. And right now I believe this is just automatically generating buttons for the various towers. Where are those coming from? So I have a tower description class that is storing a link to the tower and the cost and the name, which is what's appearing in the menu at this point. So I am going to add another category to this, that's the type. For that, I'm going to use an enumeration. Tower type. I'll put in tower or upgrade. Nice and easy. I've added that. Somewhere I have the actual resource that's being stored into. That is probably in towers. Yes, main list. So tower type, yep, for these is tower. Then I'm going to add a new one. This file is going to be the upgrade, range upgrade. Do I want an extended scene from that? Yeah, I'm going to implement a scene off of that first, just in case I want it later. So upgrades, let me throw in a folder for the range. This way, if I want to extend those or polish them up, I already have the structure in for it. New inherited scene. Let me take a look, make sure. Yep, there's my upgrade tower. Save that. And I need to give this some class information here. So this is type of tower. Probably add an upgrade type eventually. Range upgrade. In fact, I will almost definitely be changing that type. What was this, and re-implement it? There we go. Now it comes in with the right type. Yep, type is tower and the right name, so I can save that now. Back to I was adding this to my list. Quick load, range upgrade right there. Our name is range upgrade. Cost. What is the cost for the upgrades? For now, I'm going to use a fixed price, but I think the idea is going to be that the more of them you create, the more expensive they are. So the first ones are going to be fairly cheap. I'm going to make this 30, which is only half the price that the original tower was. I'm going to change this to an upgrade. So now if I play it, that should just all be in the same list. Yep, there's the range upgrade. I want to separate this out into two separate lists. Let me get back in here. So right now I just have a single V box. I'm going to split this and put in, how do I want to do that? I'm going to throw in an H box, separate them side by side. Then within each, I'm going to add two more V box. Just duplicate that one. This one is towers, this one is for upgrades. In here, so now I need to export those to get so those are going to be my canvas panels for making my buttons. Tower container is just list them as containers. Throw those in there and select them. Then when I am creating the button, so I'm adding it right here. So instead of just doing a blanket add, if type I'm going to do tower container. I don't know why that, oh, because I don't have that marked as private, that's why. Otherwise, upgrade. So now I should have a split panel. Build. There we go. I got upgrades over here. I got the main towers over here, and I have a big old cancel button down at the bottom. So the upgrades can go, yes, anywhere that the towers can at this point. That's going to have to change because I don't want to be able to build an upgrade without a tower nearby. Throw in an upgrade right there. Now, at this point, it's not actively doing anything because I need a way to link it to the nearest tower to it and show some kind of visual of that effect. And then I need the tower itself to actually draw data off of that linked item and actually increase the range. So here is where I'm going to make a custom class, because right now this is a tower class. And the only value that it really has is range attached to it. So where is my damage and everything coming from? That is, oh, this is my upgrade building. So let me pull up my actual test tower, my laser tower. Oh, that was a laser shot. Here's the laser tower. So the range is the one I'm going to be working with. So that's already lined up for me to work with. The other two that I'm making, or plan on making, are going to be the damage and the firing speed. So, and I believe those are defined right in the state. So I'm eventually going to have to move those into the main class. But for right now, in the upgrade class, I want to create a new type for this that is an upgrade tower that is going to extend tower. And that way these main stats can be added or multiplied into the stat of the tower that it's connected to. So I'm going to create a new class in here. How have I been doing my classes? Tower, yeah, I have them all in there. So I'm just going to make a new script here called upgrade tower. And I'm going to keep the tower as a base because I still want it to be able to work with the buttons and the layout manager and all that other stuff that I got going on. I'm just going to extend it. I already have a tower range. That's the thing that's going to be boosted. The is icon is internal. That's running how it shows up on screen. So I don't even think I really need to manipulate that at all. I go into my range upgrade. Yes, I have a tower range, and I want to change this type before I update this, or I'm just going to be updating it again. Back in my import, make it an upgrade tower instead of a tower, and re-import it. Now when I pick that, yes, that goes right to upgrade tower. Good. my range. So what was my initial range on this? Because I'm going to use that to figure out. Okay, so that was originally 5. So every upgrade that's attached, I'm just going to extend the range by 0.8. Depending on how big my towers get, I may tweak that later, but right now that is what I'm going to add on to it. Now from my, so first up, they need to link to a specific tower. I don't want one upgrade building feeding 2 different towers. So they do need to be linked to each other somewhere. And since the main tower is the one that's going to be calculating the final stats, it should be the main tower that has a link to the upgrade tower. So what I want here is a way to look around and see what is closest. Well, that can, so the range upgrade, I want to look for the closest tower and call a link function. I'm going to go about it that way. So I'm going to throw a function in here. Find nearest. That returns a tower. Now I do not have any groups for my towers at this point, so I'm going to make one. I have enemies, emplacements, and groups, so I'm going to make another one for towers. That is supposed to be global. And that, my test tower becomes one of those. My laser tower, and oh, okay, I guess test tower was just a, no, that is the model for it. Where is, oh, gun tower was the original one that I did. I want to throw that in there just to keep them consistent. Even though that one is not going to make it into the final. So that goes into my towers collection. So my find nearest is going to draw from that collection, from that group. Using group towers. List out of that. Then I want and I want a very high distance to compare to. And then lists. That should work out because they should all be towers. So I'm going to go through each item. If that is the current nearest, I'm going to make a copy of this, so I'm not calling this function twice. Oh, hey, I have to, yeah. So that's my set that, and I set tower equal to the item. So when it is done with this loop, the item in there is going to be the closest tower. Okay, so that's what I'm going to return. Return the nearest tower. So that's a nice, easy, quick little search function. Definitely going to need that. I also need to limit it based on range. I want the upgrades to be within a certain range of the main tower. Or within range of another upgrade. I suppose I can chain them together. So if that is the case, then I want this to be in the towers group as well, so that I can chain the upgrades. Get little miniature cities being built around each tower to get it upgraded. So I want to what do I want to call this? So I want this to search and see if there is something to link to. And this is going to be running a lot because I want it to update the links as more and more things are built. And nearest in range. Let's do it like that. Nearest. Then do I want a specific range? How do I want to handle my upgrades? Do I want some things to be ranged closer than others? I think that would be a bit much, so I think I'm gonna just go for a blanket range. So I will make that a constant. I don't want to be able to set it except from in here. And we will put that at 2 units, which is a pretty good amount of map space. First off, if there is no nearest, which should really never be the case, because I'll have a filter in there where you can't build an upgrade tower unless you actively have other towers on the board. Position, distance 2. It's greater than the range. Then it cannot link to anything. Oh, I wanted to retain that. And I guess I don't really need to retain that because I'm only using it once. So I can just drop that right in here and lose that entirely. Range is, yes, so let's rename this link range. Return the nearest. So now I want an actual function to link the tower. So I need to store which one it is already linked to. I'll keep this one internal. Link tower. My nearest in range first. I want to see if I am already linked to another tower. If I am, I need to unlink it. I'm putting passes in for this because I need functions in the tower itself to link them together. And this wouldn't necessarily be an else because this is going to be a hard link. Find nearest in range. So if target, if there is no tower in range, then I do need to unlink the previous tower. So this one, link tower not equal to target. So this first clause is fine with that. I don't need to protect this one because this is just unlinking. Now if is valid target. And I link the new tower there. So in this way, the building structure is actually going to change quite a bit as you build up more and more, which should make the game a little more interesting than most basic tower defense games. So within my tower class, I need a way to link and unlink towers. And I can only link upgrade towers. I can't link two main towers together. I'm going to retain an array of upgrade towers. And simply add it. Unlinking is just as simple. Throw those into my upgrade tower now. Link and unlink. And I did those in the wrong order. This is supposed to be unlink. This one is supposed to be link. That was exactly why I wrote those notes in that I apparently didn't bother reading again. I have a simple link and unlink. Now I need the ability to go through and calculate a new stat based on what is linked to what. And since these can chain together, I want to do this by taking the base stat and adding the stat of anything that is listed in links. So right now I'm focused on the range. Get linked range. Get the tower range first. Now, from a main tower, that's going to be... Yeah, so get linked range, we'll get that. Okay. And then it will call for each of the upgrade towers. And that creates my final range. Ah, yes. It doesn't like the word range as a variable name because that is an actual keyword. So not a huge deal, but I want to make sure that I'm not triggering warnings all over the place because that'll make it harder to find actual warnings. I'm just going to change the name to this. Easy enough. So this will cycle through whatever towers it is linked to and end up adding a composite range to the whole thing. And right now in my towers, my test tower has a range of 5 and my upgrade has a range of 0.8. So with each one of these that I make, it should expand as long as they are all within proximity of the original or one of the ones that are linked to it. So I'm going to set this up without a visual at first. I do need to actually call into the okay, I need to call into all this, so in my process. Now an icon should not get linked. So if is icon, I'm going to return that. Otherwise, and I can do this on the physics process. I don't need this tick as often. I'm going to call that function. I don't need a delta. So once it's placed, every frame it's going to run through this and see what the nearest target is and link itself. Now in my main tower is run by a state system. So my searching is looking for the range. And now instead of drawing the range directly, I need to pull that composite range. Where is nearest enemy distance? Ah, here we go. Near distance. Right, so that just finds the nearest enemy. This is similar. Yes, root.tower range. This is now get linked range. So this will extend the viewing range out. So I build my tower first. I can drop that right there. I'm going to let it start firing at a couple of these so we can see what the current range is because I don't have any visual overlays once it's placed. So it's shooting right about there. Now if I build an upgrade and I get it close enough, ooh, it all breaks. Yes, it does not like trying to convert that. I suspected that might do that, so I'm going to dump this. I know it's an array of node. Item in list. I'll do a quick cast on that. I prefer doing casts like that, even though I didn't really need to, just because it keeps the code a lot cleaner. Well, it keeps it longer, but it keeps it more readable at the same time. You know, I am explicitly saying that that's a tower there. If I put in an upgrade box, so this has a range, that's actually, the green is the range that it's adding to it, which is not what I want to show. What I'm going to want to show there is the attachment range, so I will adjust that eventually. But for right now, I'm going to drop this in. And I can't tell if that extended or not, so I'm going to add another one. They may, the connect distance may be too far off, so I'm just going to keep building these and see if we eventually see any kind of effect. Because it should be going up by almost a full unit each time. But it still waits until it's right around here, so that is not actually updating. So it's time to throw in a print somewhere. Searching, I'm just going to place this. I will print this every time. So this is going to create a big dump of prints. So my range initially is 5. Let me throw in an upgrade right next to it. And it is still marking 5. So that is probably a distance issue. I'm going to try to nudge this up and see if that changes anything. Let me double it. I know that's probably too much, but I'm going to give it a shot. Basic tower, it's at 5. Upgrade right here. Still at 5. Let me try to get one closer. I need to wait till something dies. There we go, 30 coins. Let me get this one real close. Yes, so it is not drawing from that at all. So back to seeing why things are not linked. So link tower, let me throw in a trigger on this. I'm going to get rid of this other print that's going to overwhelm everything first. And I didn't really need to make that variable. I could have pulled it twice just to print it out. If I look at it again, I will. So tower, link tower. I'm just going to throw a linking and unlinking. So I build my first tower. Then I build an upgrade. Let's see if... Okay, so it is linking. That part is good. Get linked range. Let me see how many links I actually have when I'm calculating out my linked range. Right now it's at 0. And up. And that is still at 0. So the prints that I had in here, link tower, this functioned. If not, links is... I changed the text on this. So that I can compare the two numbers from there to there, because something is slipping somewhere. links is currently 0. When I link a tower, current link becomes 1, but links itself is still 0. That is just an array. I'm adding to the array if it does not already exist because this marks the right number. Unlink. I wonder if this is unlinking before I can actually use it. Throw a quick prompt in there. Drop you in. Drop an upgrade. Current links 1. I'm not seeing unlink pop up at all, so that's good. That's not affecting it. Now when it fires, I do see a drop in range. And that is part of the state setup, so that I'm not as worried about because the range only matters when it's searching for something to shoot at. Once it has a target, it's not checking the range anymore. So that's actually correct. But when it is checking the range, the links is back down to 0. Or making links link range plus equal to. So this should not be 0 at this point. Why is it 0? I'm never adjusting this array other than to unlink it. So in here it says it has 1 item. Down here it does not. Yes, this is in, so in searching, yes, get linked range, that's what I'm basing this off of. And that is off the root, which is the test tower. I'm actually going to, after I link a tower in, I'm going to throw a debug in and see if I can get more information on what's going on. I can usually figure things out that are going on just by print statements, but occasionally I have to actually start at the debugger. This is one of those occasions. So that triggered instantly, which it should, because that's getting called almost every frame unless it's already firing. So my links. Array size 0. Yes. That was expected, but still not explained. Let me continue that. I know that's going to fail. So here I have links again, which in this case is already size 1, and it already has the object that I'm trying to push into it. So this is not going to push it in again. But by the time it gets to checking for the range, it is registering 0. Which is interesting. So what is my self for this one? This should be so this is the 0.8. So this is actually the upgrade tower that I'm looking at. Link tower, that's that one. Let me flip over to the remote here. I have my test tower. I can tell by the range because that one is 5. And then I have my upgrade tower, which has a range of 0.8. So this link tower should be called on the main tower only at this point. Trigger it again, make sure. Okay, so my self in this case is, yes, it's still the link tower. For some reason it's not calling target as find nearest in range. Find nearest in range is not filtering itself. So they are all part of the group list. So the nearest in range is going to be 0. It's targeting itself every time. So I need a filter in there. If I check the distance, I'm going to check first if. Filter that out. So it was always linking to itself and never to the actual. So now I should be getting some very different results on this. Test tower, throw you up right there. Links is 0. All right, throw this in close to it. Current link is 1. And it's still saying, now I see a 1 and a 0, so I'm getting 2 different answers on links here popping up. One is linked to something, one is not. And that may be correct because it is actually printing the links to this tower as well. I'm going to throw another upgrade in here, and I'll chain it to this one. Link range is a float. Get link range. Link is an upgrade. Check for infinite recursion. Why would it be running in an infinite recursion? Unless it is linked to itself again, but that shouldn't be the case. So let me take a look at my remote here. I have test tower, I have 2 range towers. This is the closer one, this is the further away one. This one, the link tower, is that. What is this ID? Doesn't tell me. Oh, right there. So that is linked to a different node. That's linked to 9708, which is this one, which is linked to 1737. Oh, they link to each other. That's what's going on there. So that is going to be my next step, is how to determine whether it is part of the chain that actually leads to a tower or if things are starting to make circular references, which I definitely don't want because that's not going to work for anything. So now where I was at is I have my main tower and then I have my little upgrade towers. And I want the upgrade towers to be able to chain to themselves, but they need to be going to a main tower at all times. They can't link back and forth together. So what I'm going to need is a way to evaluate a chain and see if it's actually leading towards a tower. And that's going to be part of the this is in my upgrade tower. I'm going to alter my find nearest to search the chain all the way to the main tower to make sure that the end of the chain is not an upgrade tower, because if it is, I don't want to establish a link. So I'm going to throw in another function here. It's just getting the chain as an array of towers. And that is going to in fact, I'm not going to return an array of towers. I'm going to send in an array and build it as a reference. So get chain takes the current chain and pushes itself into the end of it. And that is actually going to be part of the tower functionality, because the tower has to be included in that, the main tower. So if I take my list, nearest, all right, if the item is self, continue. Item that this is after I cast it. Get chain. And I am starting this with a raw chain. So I'm putting that in, yes, directly. Chain, now this returns an array. It doesn't, I'm just gonna fill this in so it stops erroring out and I might be able to get, it doesn't want to, it's last, the symbol for that now. Get chain, oh right, because this is not actually returning anything. So I will have it return just for convenience. That's back, I think, is the last element. And if this is an upgrade tower, then I want to eliminate this one. This one should not go through. So that's a pretty simple way to filter, and it should work. Let me see what happens when I actually try to run this now. So I make my main tower. 0 links. I add an upgrade tower right there. Now I'm getting links as 1. So this actually did, I believe, extend the range out a little bit. Now I have a flicker there for some reason. I'll check into that shortly. That's part of my searching is having an issue. Let me put up another upgrade tower. And now this should go out even further. Yes, links is 2. Should links be 2? Current link is 2. I will check on that in a moment. Is it actually increasing my range though? Put in another upgrade tower right here. So those should both chain into this one, which changed to that. Now, current links is 3, which suggests that they are all attaching directly to the main tower, which is not really what I was going for there. And I definitely see a secondary problem. I'm thinking this is within the state, this flickering after the enemy is already dead. I've got my 3 upgrades. Let me see. I'm going to pause this and see what all they are actively linking to. And this process is really pushing, probably because I have all these prints going out. Let me just throw a break in here. Any one of these I can evaluate the chain and see what's going on. My window's back. Come on. There we go. Continue. All right, I'm going to have to restart this because this is sucking it down. I don't have anything recursive in here, but my functions are getting fairly heavy, so I'm going to need to start watching for performance issues at that point. Still trying to drop prints out. There, I finally broke. Okay. Let me start this up. I'm going to put in one tower. I'm going to, in fact, let me get rid of all these prints. I don't need them right this second. I know that the linking is fundamentally working. This one is still questionable, but I will deal with that after I get this sorted out. Start this up. Create a single tower. Add a upgrade tower there, and add a second upgrade tower behind that one once I can. Okay, right here. Now I can step into that and see what all is going on. All right, so I get my global list. This should have 3 items in it, one for each tower. It does. So the nearest is currently null, near distance is 1,000. Now I cycle through my list. If it's self-continue, which this one wasn't, so they are not in the order that I built them. This tower is, well, I'm not sure which one this is. Let me find my self here. Okay. So this one does have a linked tower attached to it. And I'm going to flip over to remote so I can actually see these. I have the test tower, I have this one, and I have this one. This is 1, 3. So 7 is my main tower. And right now I am running the process for this tower. So this is linked to the main, which makes sense. That was the order that I built them. It was the main, then this one, then this one. I'm going to step over this. Now, I am not actually storing the chain, so I can't see where it's chaining directly from the editor here. Tower.get chain. So this is calling get chain onto the main tower. And if it's an upgrade tower, I cycle. So that was not. So I collect the distance from this and check it. Now the second tower was itself, because that one skipped. Third tower is this one out here. And this one, the chain, well, the chain will go back, because if that's connected to itself, so I need to make sure that my chain not only ends at a tower, but it doesn't also already contain this tower, because that will cause it to go recursive. And that was the issue that I was seeing there. So I'm going to make a chain here. Starting with this one. Then if the last item is an upgrade tower, then I want to cancel. I need to be able to type that in correctly for that to work. And also, if chain.has itself, then also I want to continue the loop. So this way, that tower in the middle, when it is evaluating the chain, when it goes towards the tower, it will get a good response. So the tower will be included in the list. When it goes away from the tower, even if that is already chained, and it's a valid chain because it ends at the main tower, but because it contains this one as part of the chain, it's going to break there. All right, let me see if that works now. From my main tower, I do want to throw a print back in here just to see how many links are going on for each one. Because my main tower should have one link, and then that middle tower should have. And the third tower should have 0 links. So there, they all start at 0. This is just the one. I throw one upgrade in. And that is still 0'd. Because the chain always contains itself since I'm starting it with itself. So let me go back to where I'm calling my chain here. I want to start this with an empty array. It's invalidating my own function. Right there, that's got 0. Upgrade right there. This never flipped to 1. I don't know if my range is longer or not, so I'm going to throw another one in here and see if that has any effect. And chain it onto this one. These are all coming up 0'd. I don't think my range has increased any. My search, I'm just going to print out the final range. First tower, throw up an upgrade. My range is coming out 5 even with 0 links consistently. So it's still not linking now. Let me step into this and see what's going on. What is canceling the link? Remote. I have the test tower and the upgrade. So this should be the upgrade that I'm looking at. That was 8.7. So this is 6.6. What is my self object? Is the 8.7, which is this one. So this is being called from the upgrade tower, which is what I want. The original tower should never call this. List has 2 items. Yes. Set up my loop variables. Look for self. Okay, that was good. So this is looking at 668, which is the original. That's my main one. Get my chain. Now my chain should only have 1 item in it. 922, is that this one? No, that is neither. It's listing it as an encoded item. So chain, let me look at it in here because that'll be more accurate. Yeah, 8.7, that's my main tower, I believe. Oh no, it is not. So the chain grabbed itself. That's not good. The link tower is null. All right, so let me go back to my main tower, get chain. That's adding to, I need a separate get chain function within my upgrade towers, because that not only needs to put itself in the array, but it needs to then follow the chain beyond that. So I'm going to put an overridden function here, pushes itself, and then if no linked. That I was trying to chain it, but it wasn't actually chaining. Let me start this up again, see what I get. That one in 0 and 5. That's my stats. This one in, and still nothing. All right, let me drop another break in here. Take a look at this chain and see what I get. Test is 664850. I'm going to go all the way down. I know this is working up until here. So here's my chain. Right there. 850 is unfortunately the one that it is calling from. So this is calling on itself and should not be. This should be calling on the subtower. Start it. I need to turn this breakpoint off. Restart it. Go. All right, so build first tower. Build and upgrade. There. Now I am seeing 5.8 and 1 down in my summary. This should have a longer range, and I got the flicker back, which suggests that the range is actually expanding, because that has something to do with that. Let me build a second one right there. Now I'm seeing 6.6 is my total range, and I'm seeing 2 towers each with 1 link, which suggests that that is working the way that it should. I build another one out here. This is the nearest tower to that, so now I have a longer range yet, and I have a 2 in the number of links for one of them, and 1 in the links for one. So it looks like this is doing what it should be at this point. But is the range actually expanding? It doesn't look like it, because I suspect that the firing also does something with the range. Enemy out of range. Yes, it searches to see if the enemy is out of range again. So I need to update my range here as well. Group dot, and not this. Get linked range. I believe that is the only place I need to update that. That was most likely the flicker issue. Was that it kept bouncing back and forth between a long range and a short range. You up. Okay, so that looks a little longer than it was. Let me kill a couple of them and throw another one up. Another upgrade tower right there. Wait till a couple more die and see if I can extend it further. Put one up there. This is saying my range is at 7.4 at this point. Put another one in. I want to make sure that visually I'm seeing, yeah, I definitely saw the jump on that one. Another one. I'm lagging. I don't know if it's because of the prints or if it's because of the calculation. So I'm going to have to check that. Okay, it's definitely getting longer and longer with each one. Another one in. Yes, that's definitely getting longer. Good, good. So this is working the way that it should. I'm going to stop there and pull these prints and hope that that is the source of the lag, because otherwise I need to start refining this massive search function that I got going on. Wrong one. I want this one. And it is still pumping out prints, which is why it's running slow. In my search, I have this. It's printing the range. And then somewhere I am also printing the number of links. I think that was in my ranged upgrade. I thought is there a print in here anywhere? There should be. There is not. Where did I put that one? I think that was in the, yeah, there it is. Link size. That's the other one. Let me pull this one out. It is still processing the prints from the last run. Because I left it running. That's why. My mistake. All right, start it up again. Let's see if I can build a bunch of structures here without lagging. Those. I'm going to throw this one right in the middle. So who knows what that is linking to? Whichever one is closest. I have to do some kind of visual for the links. I'm just going to cluster all these buildings in together. Keep making them. So far, I'm not seeing any lag, and I definitely did at this point previously. So I think that was all in the massive amount of print statements that were getting pushed out. Yeah, I am still completely lag free, so that's all it was. So my algorithm is okay for right now. And my range extended with every one of those that I put up. So those are good upgrade buildings. Those are working. So I have the range test tower is working great right now. It's extending the range each time. I want to create 2 more test towers. Let me look at my list here and see what towers I got here. I want a firing speed and a power upgrade. So I'm going to try working on the power upgrade first. Let me make a new building for that. Up over to Blender. Go. There's my range upgrade building. A little 3 icon symbol. I'm going to make a power. What could I use for power? I'm going to make a triangular building for the power upgrade. Let me add a whole new collection here. Not inside of this one though. I'm going to start this one with just a plane. Scale it into a similar range to the last one. Then I can shut this off. I'm going to add a polygon. I guess in Blender it is a circle until you give it small enough sides to be a polygon. Scale this from the cursor center. Keep it even. Okay, then I can get rid of this. I'll make this one a little bit bigger. Bring that up to about there. That should be about the same size. It's a little shorter. That's fine. So I'm just going to do a triangle building with a sphere on the top as the power. And set this and extrude it up. Right about there. So it's holding the sphere. Bring it down a little bit because I'm going to bevel all of this. And this time I'm just going to throw a bevel on it. It's 2. Yep. Bump that up one more. Maybe do a smooth shade. I am not a huge fan of the global bevel here. It's cutting those angles a little sharp. That on offset. I'm going to kill that and throw in, well, I can mess with this a little bit. I'm going to switch this to a weight-based bevel. Let me throw, oh man, I changed this on accident. Now I don't know how to change it back. Let me throw a bevel there. It's in 2 segments. That's still at 30. I'll leave it at 3 segments for now. Grab this one, give it some weight. That one to be tight. I want this one to be just as tight. Wrong one. Actually, this one I'll round a little bit. And all my alternate corners, I'm going to do just a tiny bit. Definitely get a little tearing on some of the corners, but I'm not too worried about it for right now. My sphere looks off center, because it is. Let me get back in here. Oh, no, it's not. It just really looks off centered. Pull it up a little little bit, see if that helps. That was an optical illusion. So. Yeah, it just depends on the angle you catch it. So that is good for right now. Let me get into my UVs next. Throw in an unwrap here. Oh, I wanted a seam here. That works for what I need it for right now. Throw a seam in here. Wrap this. Get, two mostly spheres, which is perfect. I want to flip this over and grab all of this one, put it mostly centered with that, and then scale it up to nearly the same size. I'm not doing these very high detail. Now this one needs to be the biggest one in here. This is a throwaway, because that's the bottom of the thing. There we go. That will work for this, at least for the moment. Hop over to my paints. Once I have more detail, then I'll add more. Let me save this previous image. Now create another new one. This one is power upgrade. Save it. Yep, power upgrade. Create a material. Attach my image to it. There we go. Now I can paint the sucker in. So this one's going to be a real easy one. I have the, I'll select the bottom, the base. Turn on my mask. I'm going to make the bottom the more silverish color for this one. Lighten it up a little bit. Okay, and then since this is for the attack power, I'm going to make my sphere red. All the way down. So I want this heavily saturated, but it can be a little on the dark side. There we go. That works. All right, I can set up an export for this one. And off, I want to include mesh modifiers. I don't need those. So I have that one exported. I'm going to copy that over. This is the power upgrade. Okay, back into Godot. I saw the import windows popping up there. So if I look in upgrades, yes, I have the power upgrade now. There we go. There's definitely something a little off, whether it's with the geometry or the texture, but I'm not too concerned with it right now. It's not a finalized object. So I am going to make a inherited from this. I need to set my classes for it first. Get into my imports. This is a upgrade tower. And I'll call it, yeah, power. Now I can make an inherited scene and have it pull in the right stuff. Power upgrade right in there. Now I don't need to alter my menus because my menus are working, but I do need to add it to my towers list. Add new one is going to pull the power upgrade, the name, and the cost. I'm going to have this one cost a bit more than the range update. I'm going to bump that one up to 50. Again, the cost is going to be more dynamic once I start finalizing things, but for right now, since I'm just testing, I want to be able to pull them in there relatively quickly. So in my main tower, I have my state system set up. And right now I have a different state system for each of the two towers that I've made. They are functionally exactly the same. But this is a good time to decide whether I'm going to have the same state system on all towers or if I am going to have them be a little more customized. Because each of them, the change I'm about to make is going to affect both of them. So it's a matter of whether I have to make it twice in the idea that I will eventually have them have all the different states separated, or if I'm going to use the same basic state for every tower and somehow customize it from there. So let me see how this is running. So it's doing a search. And the search is just pulling a range and finding the nearest enemy. And then it's doing a fire, which is turning on the damage projector, I believe, and then applying damage to each enemy. So yes, I have my shot system down here. So I think I will use some kind of generic in the future, but I'm not going to break that up just yet. But for right now, I'm going to add what I need to get the power upgrades in here. So I have a get linked range. I'm going to need a get linked damage. Oops. I'm just going to return 0 for right now because I need to make this a main variable. And I am firing. Right now I have the damage linked in directly. This is going to go away. And the errors will show me what I need to change. Here we go. So it's just down here. Damage. Oh no, that was the type. That's not the one I want. This is the one I want. Hit link damage. Those will always affect the amount. The type is going to be determined by the tower eventually. So I'm not worried about the types just yet. But I do need to propagate the damage the same way that I did with the range. I have a base damage. I'm going to make it much smaller. I'm going to make these guys harder to kill. I'm going to put it down to 0.4. damage. That's basically the same algorithm that was adding up my ranges. And in my power tower, I'm leaving the range at 0, and I'm setting the damage to 0.1. I'll add 0.1 damage for every power tower that is set up. So let's test this straight up and see if that all works as intended. I do not have, oh, I never properly categorized my tower. I need to go back in here and do that. In my main list, right here, power upgrade, yep, I put it in as the wrong kind. Now I will try this out. So yes, I have 2 in each menu. Put that up. I gotta wait on the power tower for a little bit, and I wonder if I can even kill one of these at this point. Let's see, I can, but it takes a little longer. All right. So let me put one of these up, and that should start decreasing the amount of time that it takes to kill one. They're still pushing forward. I need to get another one in. I need to kill enough of them to do it, though. All right, throw another one of those up. Let's see. Looks like the life is going down slightly faster. I'm not adjusting them by that much for each one. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes and see if adding more will make it go quicker and quicker. Upgrade right here, throw another one in. So I think I'm starting at 0.4 and I'm adding 0.1 per tower, so I should be up to about 0.7 on the damage at this point. Which should be pretty close to keeping even, so that makes me concerned that that is not what's happening here. Throw another one up. I don't think that is having an effect, so let me get a print from test tower firing. Let me actually print this. And that is going to start the massive amount of prints again, because that's all in a process setting, I believe. Oh, that's a range. I don't want that. There we go. All right, so right now, yeah, it's projecting 0.4. I put that up, and it is still 0.4. So I was correct. It's not doing anything, even though I have that added in. Get link damage. Let me compare this to my other upgrade. This is not listed in the group. I forgot to add this to the towers group. That is probably why that was failing. I may put an import script on the towers just to make sure that it is added to the group. No, that is still reading 0.4. So it is not getting the proper damage out of here. My main tower, get link damage. So either it is not linked again, or it is not calculating properly. So get link damage is calling itself. And it is using its original damage, so the upgrade tower should be pulling that. And then the test tower should be adding them both together, but it is not. So I'm going to need to run this and put up a couple of towers and then get a good breakpoint in to see what all is going on. So I'm pretty sure the links are working. They were working fine on the range tower. Wait for this to get enough coins. All right, there we go. That in. I'm still reading 0.4 on the damage, so I'm going to throw a marker in right here. That way I can step into and see exactly what's going on. So this is on the main tower. Step over. So my link damage is correct. Now, how many things do I have in? Yes, there's one tower linked. And then I will step into this one. Now here, oh, hey, those, since link range, tower range, and damage are both listed as 0 right here. Oh, okay, that was the template, so, no. Let me get to the remote, get the raws on these. Power tower. Yes, those are zeroed out. So in my power tower, I have that. It should not be zeroed out. My range worked. Let me look through and make sure that I'm not explicitly setting this anywhere. I am not. I'm only reading it. Let me check the upgrade towers for the same thing. And no, so it should not be changing anywhere. This should be at 0.1 for the instantiated tower. I'm going to do that again. See what else I can see. Put that up. I gotta wait to build the other. It's going to trigger the break here, yes. And cancel that. Now I can put in an upgrade tower. There's my power upgrade. Go back to that. Step in. So I know that this first one works fine. The original damage is 0.4. Now my link should be linked to that. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 9. Yep, that's the right object. And these are still zeroed out. So why is it treating the damage differently than it treated the range? Because I was able to adjust the range with no problems at all. I step over that. And at the end of the whole thing, the link damage has not changed because this is drawing a 0 every time. So as a test, I'm going to look at my power tower and I'm going to do a range increase of 10. Big range increase that I will see immediately when I link it. I want to see if it's ignoring both of these properties. Yeah, I forgot to clear that. Okay, continue. Right, I have enough for a power upgrade. Now this should at least massively increase the range, which I can't really see since my damage sucks. Right, who's that? Let me turn my main damage up. 3. That will kill these ships almost instantly. I should probably turn down the cost on the damage tower while I'm messing with it. So yes, that fires and nails it right there. Add a power upgrade. Yes, so that does not even increase the range. So this is ignoring both. That's fun. Here's my firing one right there. And I'm also going to put one in searching for the linked range. I want to check both of these and see what's going on. Step over, I stepped over, that's fine, I will skip. All right, step into this. And I'm guessing I'm going to have the same thing here. So link, the object, yes, has that. Both of these are zeroed out. So how am I instantiating? I'm instantiating these right off of the main list, which is just pulling this scene. What scene is this? Ah, I have the wrong scene in. That is why. Do a quick load. This is power. I have the GLB in there, and I need this one. Now I can pull out those breakpoints. I'll pull them out as they trigger, but now it should be working. Yep, there's one. And my other one will come up when it starts shooting. There's the other one. Clear that. Go. Now, if I put in a power upgrade, this will, yeah, I see that range. Ah, there we go. Range increase, power increase. So let me kill the range on that again. That's back to 0. The main tower, I'm going to put at damage of 0.5. And let's try this again. So now we actively see us killing these quicker as we build more and more towers. I still have a print going, so this is going to eventually lag up. Yes, it looks like they are dying at an earlier point than they were. And when I add a second one, that should back up even further. Now it's not quite straight up. They die. I'm going to throw a third one in and see. It should keep backing them up more and more. Yep, now it's got an obviously different angle on it by the time they die. So that is adding to the power every time I add one, which is what we want. I'm going to throw in a range. And that will chain through those. And yes, it started firing at it even sooner. So good, those upgrades are all working. So that's 2 out of the 3 that I wanted to implement. I have range and I have power. Power. And they're all linking well between themselves. All right, I can get rid of this most recent print right here. That will return my lag to a normal level. Let me see what kind of things I'm getting in here. Tower selected. What did I make that for? Okay, so the buttons are triggering that, I believe. Now, tower selected was originally for... Yes, I'm instantiating it directly. That was originally when I had plates down for building locations. So that was a few days ago now. It's old. And then the type in apply damage is still unused. I want to keep that there as a reminder that I have not implemented the types. My editor is destabilizing a little bit here. Let me close all of these. Okay. So the third piece that I'm going to add today is the speed upgrade. The firing speed is going to be upgradable. So this last one I'm going to do is going to be a round one. Let me pop into Blender and do a quick design for one last tower. I'm going to start with I will start with a circle. And it's not going to have 3 sides this time. I'll put this back up to 32. Scale that into about the same size as this one. Then I want to, am I in edit mode? I am. I don't want to be in edit mode. Yeah, that is just this. Okay. Move. I want a new collection for, this is going to be speed upgrade. Here's my speed upgrade. I can turn this one off now. This one I'm not going to make nearly as high as the others. I'm going to throw a bevel on it. Do it by weight. 2 segments should be 2 or I'll do 3 segments. And I only want to add a weight on this top piece here. Go. Smooth it. Turn that bevel weight down just a little bit. And the type is going to be by percent instead. So I can, oh, the percent I want all the way up for that to work right. Yeah, that's still not really working right, is it? The absolute offset. With I do want it at percent. I do want it up. See what it's actually doing in here. Okay, it's throwing that in. Set is really not doing a very good job. I'll leave it on offset. I get a big, big jump Salute, maybe. That's not horrible, but it's still not what I was going for. Oh, this is a distance. Oh, because it's absolute right offset. Yeah, this is huge, that's why. I'm going to put my full weight at 0.2. There we go. Now I have a little more control over it. Resegment. There. That's a decent looking bevel, and I think that'll work on the other pieces that I add. So now this one, I'm going to add another circle. This one I'm going to make three-sided. Because what I want is a couple of arrows in here. So I'm going to break this side in two spots. Move them almost to the edges. Turn on a couple of my utilities here. And drop that one there. Drop this one. Where's that point? Right there. This one back to this edge. One back to this edge. And then delete this segment. Now they're all linked and good. So I have an arrow. Put that off for now. Fill this, scale it. Get up top, extrude it, give it a little bit of depth. I want to do this individual. Yeah, it's still not going to work the way I want it to. It just goes inward. But I might be able to arrange it then this way. Yeah, I really don't like how that came out. Well, if I flatten it, no, I don't like that. I'm going to leave them boxy for right now. Let me scale it down a little bit more because I want to throw 3 of them in here. There we go. And to set up my bevels, I can just select these plates. Let me add a little bit of weight to this, not much. Just enough to round the edges off a little. My smoothing is good, okay. And then I want to grab all of the side pieces. Give these a, oh, these are grabbing the tops as well, so I don't want that. There we go. Use a tiny bit of a bevel. Too much. There we go, right there. Ooh. Ah, I was not in edit mode when I did that. Okay. Let me grab these outer ones, have a very hard edge on them, and I don't want that. Let me bring up the bevel on this one a little bit. Actually yeah, I'll bring that one up just a little. It's still got a pretty hard edge. And the fronts, of course, are going to have a hard edge. Good enough for a preliminary design. Bed these in here. So that's my speed upgrade. At least the first version of it. UVs. Mark a seam there. And unwrap all of this. I have the top of my plate, I have the bottom of the plate. Hide this. I can throw in seams on these. Unwrap all of this. I get some weird stuff out of that one. I can make these all overlap as well. Just take a little work in here this time. Let me grab this one, rotate it on that. Line all of those up. You can do the same things with these. I got them all lined up. Pick all of those. These are my bottoms, so I don't really need much with those. I do want to increase the scale on these, so those are very visible. Bottoms I can scale down to almost nothing and bury those somewhere. This is the main portion of my base. This is the other large object. Put that right there. I can grab this one and scale it down. That's a bottom. Throw that right there. Basic UV layout. I can go to my colors, create a new image for this. This is my speed upgrade. Save the file. Attach it and start painting. Base of this, I'm going to put in a greenish area. Grab just this and mask it, give it the green. I want this to be a darker and more saturated green. Yeah, I don't know about the darker. Yeah, the darker is fine. These I'm going to make a bright yellow. Not quite that bright. Highly saturated. Let's see what that looks like. I can deal with that for right now for the speed booster. I think that looks like a speed booster. Okay. Back to my main, set up my export. That off, that off, that off. Add the modifiers, and that is it. Export that one. All right, I'm going to start copying this into the project. I now have, yes, speed upgrade. And create a new folder for this. Throw that in there. Now I can flip back to Godot. I got my new folder. I got my new object. Good. Root type is an upgrade. Import it and make an inherited scene out of it. There we go. Nice and easy. This in the right folder. Okay, so this is inheriting the range and the damage. I do not have a firing speed in there yet, so that's going to be the next piece that I work out. But first, I'm going to add this to my main list so that it's in the menu. Add new tower description. Last time I picked the GLB on accident, so I'm really watching for that now. The cost, I'm going to keep the cost relatively low, make that 130, and make it an upgrade. Now the actual function of the upgrade, because right now it's not sending anything. So I need to pop into this script, I need to pop into my tower script, and here I'm going to put in the speed. And I want to add these together like I have with the others. So what I want is a higher fire rate. So I'm going to put the fire rate in terms of shots per second. And that will have an effect on my tower itself. So I'm going to switch to my laser tower, which is still called test tower. And in here somewhere I have my, see how I have this set up. I have a fire rate. Oh, that's what I just put in. Firing. I have a fire time right now. So I'm going to be changing this into a fire rate. I'm going to be dropping this because now it's on the root. There we go. So I have an internal timer that's running this. And what I need is for the fire timer is initially going to start out at 0. As soon as it triggers, it will start. My fire time itself, so the calculation on this going to be, and I'm going to do a plus equal because I want to composite it and get those fractions of seconds back for the player. I'm going to take 1 over the root, that fire rate. And that should be the only adjustments that I need on this. Now I set a base fire rate. I'm going to do, I'm going to do 3, start at 3 per second. My upgrade is going to add another 0.5 shots per second. So I'm going to try playing this. I did not add that to a group. I also forgot that last time. There we go. So now if I add a bunch of speed modifiers to a base tower, so let me get a base tower. I'm going to put it up top this time. And I'm going to need to add a second one if I can, because that's not quite enough to kill these guys. All right. Well, that's not good, because now I'm stuck. I need to upgrade the base power for the moment. I'll start that at 1. I'm testing the speed anyway, so it doesn't matter. I know that'll kill him in time. Throw up a tower there. Do I have enough for a speed upgrade? Oh, speed upgrade's not showing up. It is, but it doesn't have a name. So I will adjust that shortly. So firing speed upgrade right there. Now it should kill these a little bit sooner. Right, let me add another one. I'm not compositing the speed. I'm just taking the root speed. So in my tower script, it's not the tower. Is it an upgrade tower? Where did I put this? Oh, yes, it is right here. Get linked rate. I'm going to duplicate this and just change my names. Great. Oh, wait. There, yes, it all compiles. Now for my firing, I'm not getting the base rate, I'm getting the linked rate. Now they should add up. Try that again. I'm going to fix this name because that's bothering me. Where's my list? Yes, I missed the name. Speed upgrade, everything else was set. All right, so add a base tower here. And add a speed upgrade. That took all the way. Ooh, it's not actually killing them. Did I mess up my firing rate somewhere? Test tower. My damage is 1. Could be killing them. All right, it is draining them. Oh, because my fire rate, my starting fire rate is very, very low. Starting it at 3, so I'm going to bump that up, because it doesn't need much. Throw that in. Let's see. This should kill it pretty effectively now. No, it's still taking forever. Okay, so that is getting the link damage. It should be 4. I'm going to get linked range. I'm going to drop a print for the range, because I'm going to need it soon anyway. Make sure that this is getting the right value. Did I do range or did I do... 5.0, yeah, I did range. I don't want range. What am I looking at here? Oh, right here. The link rate. Okay, 1.0 is incorrect. Should be 4. So let me look at what I'm actually pulling from here. Link rates 1 equal the wrong damn thing. That's why. All right. There we go. Now it's killing them very effectively. Now if I throw in a speed tower, that should go up a little bit. Throw in more. Yes, this is at 5 rounds per second instead of 4. Make that more. Yes, it's backing off where it kills them each time I add one. So that is doing what it should be. That was right there. Add another one. Right there. It is backing them off, but it is very slow. But it still takes a couple of shots. Another one. Yeah, that definitely moved. So that one's not having as much of an effect, but that's not something I'm going to worry about until I start balancing everything. I know that it is having an effect. He's right there. He's right there. This one should be backed up a little bit. Yes, slightly, not much. The more I add, the less and less effect that has, because that's just adding them together. So that one may end up turning into a multiplier somewhere. Now, if I add a range, that will have an even bigger effect. I can add that out there, and it should. Yeah, so now it starts killing them out here. If I add a power, that starts killing them out there. Now, if I add a second tower right here, this will inherit, or this will relink a lot of the closer items. Which ones it relinks, I don't know. And that is going to be one of the next things that I have to deal with. Because I can see that it is linking, well, it is not linking any of the speed ones, because I still got this print running. I'm getting a lot of 4.0, so that's the new tower that I put up just at its default speed. So it may or may not have relinked the damage. I doubt it because I think the speed piece is a little closer. Yeah, I don't really have room for any more towers. So the next things I'm going to work on is experimenting with what relinks to what. But that will be a topic for tomorrow because I've gone through everything that I had intended to today. So this is coming along pretty well. This is 4 days into the Game Off 2025 jam. And my little tower defense game, I think, is coming along fairly well with detachable upgrade pieces. So I will be back tomorrow to continue on with this project. I appreciate everyone who's checking this out. And I hope that everyone has a good rest of their day.